So, what aspects of your job are like the most and the least appealing?
Most appealing is the hours. I work at 8:30 to 5 every day, like Monday through Friday, and off every weekend. And I normally work within the facility. So, like, if I have questions about labs or need more patient information, I know a lot more about the patient and can get access to those things easily. A downside to working in the long-term care facility that I work at, I do rotate to different ones. They're all in mental hospitals, so that's a unique group of people. So sometimes it can be chaotic, but it is more rewarding. I feel like those facilities are more controlled than out in the retail world when people can just come and say and do whatever. A lot of the times the people, they have people who take care of them, like managed care. They come in and they get their medication for them and set it up for them, or we'll package it into, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Dispill, but we set up their medication for them. And we give them to their nurses, and they separate it out for them. And they sometimes live in a facility. There are different facilities. Some you can stay there for 7 days, some for a month, and then they have longer term. We also work with a crisis unit, and people come in off the street for, today we had one that would try to kill herself this weekend, so suicidal depression. And then there's alcoholics, meth abusers, heroin overdoses, just pretty much anything drug abuse related and mental issues related. They go hand in hand there. So,
did you have to do a residency for this particular position?
I did not. I'm sure that it's a possibility, but I worked in retail. Since I was 18, I worked for Rite Aid. And I had a friend that used to work for Rite Aid asked me if I would like to work for them, and that's kind of how I got into it. Long-term care, I'm not sure about other areas, but in this state, there's not very many of them. They're spreading. Currently, it's growing. It's hard to. The rules are hard. The law book is not real black and white with all the rules. But I was still interested, and once I started working there, I really liked it.
What is the main thing that makes you to decide to be a long-term pharmacist, not a retail pharmacist? A lot of students here, not here, generally speaking, prefer to be a retail pharmacist. What makes you to choose this field particularly?
Well, I already kind of mentioned it. I do like you're more involved in their care because you're right there with their doctors, with their nurses, with the patients, and you can ask them, you can get the information that you need. If you need a prior authorization, simple. A lot of stuff that is a big hassle in retail is simple when you're right there in the facility. It's different than hospital. Also, I had some rotations in hospital. I kind of felt like I was, pushed into a corner somewhere, and I only spoke if I was allowed to speak, kind of thing. They're normally in the basement or in a small room, but in this facility, or the facilities that I work for, the company's name, they're called Genoa. It seems like it's retail because you're out and the patients can come and visit you, but there are also patients who stay right there and they're in an actual room. So it's kind of the best of both worlds.
Can you walk us through what you do day to day? Do you round or anything?
We don't do rounds. They send us in the morning. We normally get new admits, and it starts with we have a crisis unit, people who are admitted overnight, and we fill the medications that they need that they don't already have on hand. Then throughout the day, the prescribers that are there, they still see patients regularly like a clinic, and we get their medication while they're being seen, and then they come down to the pharmacy and pick their medication up before they leave. And sometimes it gets off where the patient will have to come some other time in the middle of the month if there was a immediate change needed. But a lot of times we try to keep the appointments. Sometimes they do refills, sometimes they don't. If they don't do refills and they meet every month, then that works out great. But sometimes it gets difficult. So we do call the patients and ask them if they need refills because they need more. Some of them need more help with, they have poor adherence because they can't keep up with a lot of their things. Some of their disorders or whatever's going on in their lives, they forget. And then throughout the week, we have an emergency kit that we keep in the crisis unit, which has probably 35 different medications in it, and we will keep that supplied. Some places keep it. It's normally twice a week, but sometimes you need more of whatever, so we stay updated with what the nurses are using in the crisis unit.
What was the biggest challenge you faced when you first started your career as a long-term pharmacist?
Learning the computer systems. They work. It's different. It's different than hospital and different than retail. It's kind of hard to explain. Billing's a little different, but that's kind of. I've worked in a lot of different pharmacies, kind of filling in, and that's always a challenge. It's just a perfect mix between hospital and retail, and it has all the capabilities, our system, to be the same exact system as the system that the facility has, but they don't. Most of the places that I've been, they are not willing to use the system we're using. So some locations I go, they have two systems. So they have the hospital talk system that is already set up for the facility, and then the pharmacy system. So I have to look at two separate systems to make sure everything kind of matches up. So okay. I think more work needs to be into that part, because that's a challenge every day, is me trying to figure out, I know that you can do this, and this is a law. I need to get this done, but I can't figure out how to get the systems to let me do it. But within being in the challenge being long-term care, there's not too many. I just enjoy being in long-term care more so than retail. Like I said, I get more information. I get a communication with the doctors. I one-on-one with everyone.
So, since you said earlier, there isn't a lot of long-term care facilities and stuff, I'm going to assume there's not a lot of pharmacists working in long-term care either in West Virginia. So do you have trouble finding a replacement when you need a day off or something like that?
Yeah. This company, so there's 6 of them, and then they hire PRNs to float throughout the state. Or I'm licensed in Ohio. If I wanted to, I could go to Ohio, and I'm working on Pennsylvania. So, yes, there are some long-term care facilities in the state, and they have a pharmacy that they just they use one pharmacy, and that pharmacy supplies 18 different facilities.
Wow.
So they have a big place, and they have a lot of equipment. They do IVs, and every day they either ship them out or they use mail for the patients who are sent to different places. some of the long-term care use like unit, like what is it called? Like the rest care. There's another one.
My question was, is there a lot of opportunities in long-term care, like a lot of job availability, a lot of, ways to move up?
So like the next step with me to move up would be the director of pharmacy, who like it's kind of like a district manager they go over like 2 or 3 different states. So that's kind of a big step for me because of the traveling you'd have to do for that. Like I said, with more prescriptions, the more business I have, I could hire a pharmacist and then more technicians, those kind of things. So in the future it will grow, but right now, no. Retail is probably the biggest area for job availability.
What's your advice for us as a student to be a long-term pharmacist in the future? Do you recommend focus on some subjects? Should we do some certain GPA in some subjects to be a long-term pharmacist in the future or not?
It depends on what kind of long-term care you want to do. Like Genoa, they're focused on mental health. Something that did help me, I took drug diversion, the doctor, our professor that taught us that, well, he's not there anymore, so I'm not sure if you guys have that elective or anything. But it just really depends on what area you would like to do it. Some take over like nursing homes, so geriatrics. Just depends on your interest. And then within this area, there's not too many. So as it grows, there may be more. So for you guys, I'm not sure what year. Within the next few years, I'm not sure it will grow too much. But the other long-term care facility or pharmacies I was talking about that has the different facilities, they deal with nursing homes and the elderly.
When did you first hear about long-term care?
While I was in pharmacy school, I'm sure maybe in my second year or something. But I didn't really think it was an option because when you research it, there's not much. There wasn't much to even find. And then the one that I know that has 18 different places within it, it just opened like right after a year after I graduated. They opened that pharmacy. And Jenna was opening for the last 2 years. So they're all new. So I'd heard about it, and then I'm sure, I don't know if you've had law yet. You study some in law a little bit, but I didn't think that I would be working in a long-term care, no.